public television station. This is KRWG TV in Las Cruces.
Live from the KRWG TV studios, this is NewsView 22.
Good evening and thanks for joining us here on NewsView 22. I'm Matt Bryant. Police may have captured more than 2 reckless drivers in Doña Ana County last night. They may have found a murder suspect. NewsView 22's Shelton Dotson has followed the case since it broke last night and joins us now on the set. Now, after last night's events, we thought that we just had a dramatic car chase on our hands, but it's turned out to be much more.
That's correct, Matt. As many times as the case, we believe that law enforcement officers may have stumbled onto a murder case. 2 men stopped on Interstate 25 last night for reckless driving are the top suspects in a murder committed in Glenwood, New Mexico yesterday afternoon. The men are identified as James Dunlap of Grants and Frank McMahon of Glenwood. The 2 were found driving the car of 85-year-old Agnes Lorenzen, also of Glenwood. She was found murdered in the small community north of Silver City yesterday. Her son discovered the body, which had a single gunshot wound to the head. Lorenzen's 1982 Honda Accord currently sits in the Doña Ana County Sheriff's Department as investigations continue. The car was driven by the 2 suspects during a high-speed chase across the county last night. County officers forced the car off the road during attempts to apprehend the 2 suspects. Meanwhile, charges are pending in Catron County against the 2 men as the investigation continues. Well, the events leading up to the capture of Dunlap and McMahon last night were also spectacular. Speeds were estimated at 100 miles per hour at times, and officers have calculated that upwards of 30 rounds were fired during the encounter. This was a scene on Interstate 10 last night as Jerry Dunlap and Frank McMahon led law enforcement officers from the city, county, and state on a 20-mile chase across Doña Ana County. It began with a routine stop by Doña Ana County Deputy Ernest DiMatteo and ended with gunfire. DiMatteo's patrol unit was struck once by shots fired by Dunlap. Fragments from the blast injured the deputy's eye and hand, however, he continued in pursuit. Other officers became involved in the chase and later opened fire.
At Valley and Picacho, Las Cruces City police officers apparently fired a shotgun. But prior to that, at Mayfield High School, one of the suspects bailed out.
That suspect was McMahon, who had been driving the 1982 Honda Accord but now fled on foot and was later apprehended by police. At that time, Dunlap restarted the car and continued to flee. Officers then attempted to stop the getaway car with their own police units.
Our Sheriff Sergeant Ricky Segovia at that point rammed the vehicle. The vehicle came across Interstate 10 to Interstate 10 West. And a final resting place was at mile marker 36 above the river levee on Interstate 10.
The damaged Honda currently sits aside DiMatteo's patrol unit awaiting further investigation. Now, also during the arrest of Dunlap, he was shot in the hand by a state police officer. The bullet entered and exited the hand, lodged in his stomach. He's currently in stable condition at Memorial Medical Center.
Now, I understand that in addition to Officer DiMatteo, someone else was injured, another officer?
During the pursuit of Dunlap, Deputy Henry Cooper fell in some heavy underbrush. He fell, broke his ribs, but he's also okay. He's been released. But the real story of this is DiMatteo. He has the glass fragment in his eye, so during this entire pursuit, he's chasing down this man. The use of one eye, one hand was also injured. He was instrumental in the capture of these 2 suspects.
Truly an act of bravery and an example of one of Las Cruces' finest. Well, and a story that we're going to follow up. Thanks, Shelton.